then this is for you. In this sharing, I'll be discussing 4 factors that you need to consider when you want to ship your item. So the first factor you need to consider is how time sensitive is the item you want to ship. Is it an urgent item that needs to be shipped? You might consider shipping it by air. Maybe in your company, you tend to get a sample of raw material or a sample of product from a supplier. Say you are in Canada and you need a sample of an item in China to make a decision regarding your production or any other activity you need to carry out in your company. Then you might need to look at shipping it by air, because considering how long it is to ship by sea, you may need to ship it by air so as to be able to get the product on time to be able to make the decision, which cannot wait for the lengthy period that it might be shipped, that will be shipped by sea. Okay, so in that case, if you need to get an item fast, you need to ship it by air, as air freight or air express is faster than sea. Okay, so the next factor you need to consider is the nature of the product. Is it a product that can last long? If it's something that is not time sensitive and at the same time whose value does not decrease or does not spoil with time, then you might look to ship it by sea. Okay, for example, if you're shipping food item that is in a well-dried condition that can stay for a month or 2 months without getting spoiled, yeah, you might ship it by sea. So if it's not time sensitive and it can stay for 2, 3, 4 months without getting damaged, then shipping by sea could be an option for you. So the next factor you need to consider is the landing cost. So assuming it is not time sensitive and it doesn't can last long, okay, during shipment, it's not easily damaged, okay, with time. So we may need to consider the landing cost. We need to consider we might need to compare rather the cost of shipping it by air and the cost of shipping it by sea. If your landing cost is going to be significantly increased if you ship it by air, you may want to ship it by sea. But one thing is that if you're shipping your product to a new market, you must be sure that your landing cost, by the time you calculate your landing cost, you must be able to still have a competitive price. Okay, so if you want your product to be competitive in any market, you must be sure that your landing cost is as low as possible, such that once you put your markup on it, you will still have a competitive price. By the time you put your markup on a product that you import, you should still be competitive, okay, to sell. So that's what you are looking at. You want to first calculate the landing cost by if you ship it by air, and also calculate the landing cost ship it by sea. So compare the two and go for the cheapest, okay, so as to have a competitive product with regards to pricing. Okay, so the last point you may want to look at, okay, when you are shipping your item, okay, either by sea or by land, is to look at the is to look at the value, okay, the worth. Okay, what do I mean by value or by the worth? By value or by the worth is that by the time you bring the material, you bring the item to the country where you want to use it, does it is it justified? By the time you calculate all the expense spent, is it justified? Okay, so for example, now if you are shipping a document, for sending a document from one country to the other, so you might want to consider something. You want to consider, does it worth sending by sea or by air? So most times documents are sent by air, okay, because although it might be cheaper to send it by sea, Okay, it might be cheaper, but in that case, you are being the cost is not much is important to you, but the value of the document and the probably the time. So shortness of time and the value of the document is more important to you than the cost. All right. So these are the factors you may want to consider when you are shipping, when you are deciding on which route to ship your item. So I hope I've been able to provide an answer to this often asked question: which route you use to ship your item? Is it by air or by sea? So I mentioned 4 factors. I start, okay, that what is the how time sensitive is the document or the item you want to ship? Is it something you need urgently? Okay, you may want to use air because air is faster. So you may want to look at the nature of the product. Is it something that can withstand a long time, okay, a long transit time without having to spoil, without having to get damaged? Okay, you may want to look at the sea shipping. You may want to look at the weight. Okay, I didn't mention that. I think I need to mention that the weight of the item. A weight of the item can decide whether to ship it by air or by ocean. So a heavy items is cheaper to be shipped. Okay, so if an item you intend to ship does not get damaged in transit, it's not time sensitive, but it's heavy, you may want to choose the ship transit movement. Okay, so you may want to look at the value of the item. So for example, if you're sending a file or a document, a certificate or something, it's better to ship it by air because of the value. So the value is more important to you than the cost of transportation. The time and the destination is more important than the cost. So you need to weigh your options. Okay, it's different. It differs from one person to the other, from one company to the other, from one situation to the other. So sometimes you have to do your math, do your calculation, and choose the best option. So both ocean and sea, both sea and air, both have their advantages and disadvantages. So you want to sit down and look into your options. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. If you find value in this content, please do share it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.